very good morning to everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Sandton Amateur Radio Club Bulletin, the Sunday morning, the 15th of March 2026. Rainy and overcast here in Johannesburg this morning, and Sandton Amateur Radio Club has got a good field station going out. So if at the end of the bulletin, please be sure to give the chaps a shout down at the Sleepy River Caravan Park. They're available on 4 different frequencies, and they'll be looking forward to your call. Okay, let's get started then. You're listening to the club station of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, Zulu Sierra 6, Sierra Tango November, which is operated today from the shack of Mark, Zulu Sierra 6, Mike Delta X-Ray. This club bulletin is broadcast every Sunday at 0845 local time on the following frequencies: 145,700 megahertz, FM in the 2-meter band, 7115 megahertz lower sideband in the 40-meter band via relay from the shack of Noel Zulu Romeo 6 Delta X-Ray. But we will be on Echolink on Zulu Sierra 6 Sierra Tango November Romeo. And for those of you who may miss the bulletin, the recordings are uploaded to the club's YouTube channel on www.youtube.com/@Zulu Sierra 6STN, together with the recordings of the club's Power Hour Tech Talks. Agenda for the bulletin today, we'll have a quick look at the top line items on the South African Radio League news. We'll congratulate the folks who are having birthdays this coming week. Look at club news. We've got a good topic of interest today, and then we'll be callings on 2 meters and Echolink later in the bulletin. So we'll start with the South African Radio League bulletin, and let's get going with that. So in the news today, we'll look at the South African Radio League call signs, and also, we'll figure out why is Whisper used as a telemetry for around-the-world balloons. Some contest news as well. So stay tuned for more information on these and other interesting news items. We're going to begin this bulletin with the news of a silent key, unfortunately. It's a deep regret that we must announce the key of Mario Forsleur, Zulu Sierra 1 Mike Victor, went silent on Sunday, the 8th of March 2026. We extend our sincere condolences to his family and friends. Okay, would you like to use the ZS100 SARL, ZS9 Hotel Quebec, or ZS6 Sierra Romeo Lima call sign? They're available for clubs and individuals to use for events or just for fun. They're all available until Tuesday, the 19th of May 2026, which is the closing of the South African Radio League centenary year. Contact the Radio League itself if you want to use any of these call signs. The understanding will be that after that you've used them, you'll submit an ADF file with all the QSOs for uploading onto the logbook of the World Club Log, QRZ, and South African Radio League QSO matching system. Questions up: why is Whisper used as telemetry for around-the-world balloons? There's a lot of been interested in the Pico balloons of late, as some have been going around the world a couple of times. And it's interesting to find out more about this, and the best way to do that is at the South African Radio League National Technical Symposium, which is going to be held on Saturday, the 11th of April 2026, when Stuart Clark, Zulu Sierra 1 Whiskey Tango, will present a paper entitled Telemetry via Repurposed Whisper for Amateur Radio, Pico Balloons as they travel around the world. His paper describes why Whisper, developed by Joe Taylor, is used as a telemetry system for amateur radio. Pico balloons carried globally by jet streams. Typically, their payload hardware is described along with the most common telemetry data and how it is encoded into valid Whisper packets. In conclusion, then, the science that can be extracted from this telemetry that is transmitted every 10 minutes will be highlighted. So, a very interesting discussion there by Stuart, Zulu Sierra 1 Whiskey Tango, explaining the intricacies of Whisper and telemetry and Pico balloons. So do join on the National Technical Symposium on Saturday, 11th of April. It will be also broadcast virtually and on the video conference platform, and a simulcast on Oscar 100. Free registration is now open. The full program and the registration link are published on the AMSAT.SA.org.za and the MySARL.org.za website. Okay, on to some contest news. It's great to note that Team Africa is participating in the Radio Society of Great Britain's Commonwealth contest this weekend. many years ago, stations from Africa were regular participants in this contest. It's the 89th Commonwealth contest. It's the CW only contest on 80 to 10 meters, and it promotes contacts between stations in the Commonwealth countries and territories. Team Africa is Nigel, 3 Bravo 8 X-Ray Foxtrot, Andy, 5 Zulu 4 Victor Juliet, Jerry 7 Quebec 9 Juliet Mike, Roll, and also then Zulu Sierra 1 Charlie, and also Rudy Zulu Sierra 2 Mike. The first, that's one contest. The other one is Radio League Equinox 6-meter African DX Entity Challenge, which runs from 1 minute past 12 UTC on Monday the 16th of March until midnight on Wednesday the 15th of April. The aim of the challenge is to contact as many DX entities as possible during a month period for around each equinox. To encourage, and this is mainly to encourage exposure on the 6-meter band and the propagation characteristics, and to provide opportunities for amateurs to DX to Africa and the African islands if you're chasing the African islands and Africa, the All Africa Award, a very useful one to do that with. The leg of the South African Radio League Saturday 20-meter club contest is on the air from 11 to 12 UTC on Saturday the 21st of March with CW phone and RTTY activity. The format of the contest is the same as the 20 and 80-meter club contest, and the complete rules for both contests are in the 2026 contest manual. Results for the South African Radio League Hamnet Simulated Emergency Contest held on the 1st of March have been released, and 12 logs were received, and the winners in each category are announced, and they are available on the South African Radio League website. Finally, a diary of some upcoming events from the Radio League. Today is the South African Radio League Field Day. I know the Sandton Club has got a big station, a big effort has gone into that out at the Sleepy River Caravan Park. I do recommend that anybody listening to make contact with give the chaps there some points. And the contest closes at midday, so 5 o'clock will be ticking. On the 16th of March is the South African Radio League Equinox 6-meter challenge. 17th March is St. Patrick's Day, so do get the dark stuff ready and enjoy that. St. Paddy's Day. 20th of March is the Autumn Equinox and Eid al-Fitr. 21st of March is Human Rights Day, World Down Syndrome Day, and the Namibian Independence Day. And also the South African Radio League 20-meter club contest. It's always a good one to take part in. Provincial schools close on the 27th of March, and on the 28th to the 29th of March is the CQW Worldwide Whiskey Papa X-Ray SSB contest and the Africa All Mode International DX contest. So that concludes the South African Radio League's news, and we'll then time to move on to the Sandton Club news now. Let's start with club members' birthdays for the week ahead. Zulu Sierra 6 Mike November Golf, Mike Gendel on the 15th, congratulations there. Zulu Romeo 6 Alpha Quebec Victor, Alan Richgard is on the 16th, Nestor Calambay on the 17th, and then ZS6 Delta Kilo Donnie the Cock on the 18th, and ZS6 Lima Uniform Kilo Luke on the 19th. Congratulations and best wishes to all for the celebration of their birthdays. Have a good one, and especially if you're feeling on the 15th, Mike Gendel, enjoy the same day as St. Paddy's. Okay, now for some Sandton Club news. As I mentioned earlier, Sandton Club is active at the Sleepy River Caravan Park for the South African Radio League Field Day yesterday and today. Lots of operators, plenty of radios and antennas, and from what I've heard, the social has been pretty excellent as well. Make sure that you get them in your log before the contest closes at midday South Africa Standard Time today. So the clock is ticking. They are on 40, 20, 10 and 15 meters. So see you guys can get your rigs fired up and get them into your log, get some points for them. I'm going to open it up now quickly. If anybody has any club news that we've missed or it may be of interest to those on frequency, please call in now. ZS6 Sierra Tango November is listening.
Zulu Sierra 6 Alpha Mike Foxtrot.
Zulu Sierra 6 Alpha Mike Foxtrot, over to you.
ZS6STN, ZS6 AMF. Good morning, Mark. Yeah, great bulletin from this side. Just wanted to mention, obviously with the Sleepy River Caravan Park team that's actually at the moment doing the SARL Field Day, it's an amazing thing to go and actually see, and the setup that the guys have done is phenomenal. those antennas that have gone up, the camaraderie that's happening currently in the tent and everything else, it's fantastic. I know that the guys were operating on the multiple bands, so if I'm not mistaken, I think you did mention it was 10, 15, 20, 40, 80, and 160 actually. And yeah, no, the guys really were going quite well actually on the bands. I know yesterday there was a bit of rain, so the guys just stopped for a bit, but the guys are going strong. Yeah, good luck to everybody at the CP River Caravan Park for Field Day. Back over to you, ZS6STN from ZS6AMF.
Thanks very much for that feedback there, Mark. Always good to hear how it's going on the day. Unfortunately, I couldn't get out there today like I normally do, but from all reports, it's been amazingly a good weekend, or an amazingly good weekend at least. So we look forward to seeing the pictures in the next Radio ZS and also in the club news. It'll be very interesting. Well done to everybody who's participated, and thanks to ZS6 Lima Zulu, ZS6HI, and everybody else that has participated and put a lot of effort into making the station, field day stations, as successful as they are. Thanks very much, Mark. That's it from Mike Foxtrot. This is ZS6STN, standing by for any other call-ins and club news.
ZS6STN field station.
ZS6STN field station, man, from the eye of the storm, as it were. Back to you there, Keith. Standing by.
Yeah, good morning, Mark. Bulletin well received here at the field station. We've got everybody running the stations at the moment. I see they're a little bit gone AWOL here, so but you can catch us on all those bands as you've mentioned already. So we would like as many contacts as still come through. We're running 40 meters, 20 meters, 15 meters, and 10 meters. I think it's closed for 80 meters and 160 meters at the moment, but you can catch us on those bands. So, I mean, Mark, just giving you a little bit of information. So we're camping out here, a few people with caravans, a few people with tents, and we have 6 antennas in the air. 6 antennas in the air, and we're including Project Honeycomb. Project Honeycomb, you can guess what that might be. It's kind of a hexagonal shape, so I'll leave that to your imaginations right now. But Project Honeycomb is Matthew ZS6MDV's baby, and he built a very special antenna. And he also built the 80-meter and the 160-meter antenna. So we were still running on battery. It's very, very overcast out here today. Yesterday was very hot. The clouds kind of dissipated, and we were sitting in 32, 33 degrees centigrade under the gazebos here. But today it's nice and cool, very overcast, but no rain. So all good, and we had a great braai and everything last night, and a great cup of coffee to start the day this morning. And we've got Brett, ZS6MIV, Justin, ZS6JGP, Matthew, ZS6MDV, Brandon, ZS6 Lima Zulu, myself, Keith, ZS6HI, and Guy, ZS6GUY, all running stations. So if you're out there right now, please do get onto the bands and let's have a contact. Back to you, Mark, ZS6STN HQ, ZS6STN field station.
Very much, Keith, and it's always great to hear the report from the field station itself. Really impressive. 6 antennas up there, and Matthew's honeycomb antenna, that experiment, they're very, very good. We're looking forward to hearing how they've performed during the contest, and looking forward to seeing the logs at the end of the day. I'm pretty sure Sandton will do a very, very good effort there. But thanks for that feedback and all that. Enjoy the rest of the contest there, and please, everybody who's listening, get onto HF and get out there and give the lad some points. All right, let's move on into today's topic of interest. There's been a lot of discussion over the last couple of months, and the last 2 years, in fact, about Cycle 25, the Sunspot cycle and the impact on DX. So I'd like to have a quick discussion on the specifically around the 10-meter part of that. And, if you've been anywhere near your HF rig lately, and you haven't tried 10 meters, you're missing out on something quite special. Around 15 years ago, 10 meters was basically a dead band. You could call Q, see Q for an hour and hear nothing but static. Over the last while, and even up to today, it's been a very different story. Basically, what has changed is that Solar Cycle 25 has had a significant effect for us here in South Africa. And you can still take advantage of some of the best propagations we've seen in over 2 decades. Also, just for our newer members, I know there's a lot of newer members that are listening in. Let me give a quick background on this. The sun goes through a roughly 11-year cycle of activity. moving between the solar minimum when the sun is quiet, sunspots numbers are low, and the upper atmosphere is relatively undisturbed, and the solar maximum when sunspot numbers are high, the sun is throwing out lots of radiation and the ionosphere becomes supercharged. The ionosphere is what makes up the long-distance HF radio possible. So when the sun is active, the F layer of the ionosphere becomes highly ionized and can refract radio waves at frequencies up to and sometimes beyond 30 megahertz back to Earth. The higher the solar flux, the higher the maximum usable frequency, or MUF, and the higher that climbs. Solar cycle 24, the one before, which ran from about 2008 to 2019, is one of the in a century. If you got your license during that period, you may never have experienced truly good HF conditions. Many operators conclude that 10 meters was a waste of time. They were not wrong for that cycle. But cycle 25 has been a very different story. Cycle 25 began around late 2019, and the International Panel of Solar Scientists predicted it would be moderate, roughly comparable to the weak cycle 24. They were proven spectacularly wrong. Cycle 25 turned out to be one of the strongest cycles in several decades. The smooth sunspot number climbed well above 150 and at times spiked above 200. Figures we last saw back in cycle 22 in the late 1980s and early 1990s. The solar flux index, which many of us watch on a daily basis, has regularly exceeded 200 SFUs. We are currently just past the peak of the cycle, which means right now, today, this week, this month, we're still likely to be among the best HF operating conditions many of us will experience for another decade. The next solar minimum will begin in somewhere around 2027. It's already starting to decline. We're already starting to see some decline in the conditions, but around 2027 we'll start really feeling it. After that, the conditions will slowly deteriorate again for several years. So the window is open. The question is, are you taking advantage of it? From ZS land, we're incredibly well positioned geographically. During a high solar flux period, 10 meters is routinely open to Europe, North America, Japan, and the rest of the world for large parts of the day. Here's something that might surprise a few people. At solar maximum, a 100-watt transceiver and a simple wire dipole, or even a quarter-wave vertical on 10 meters, can outperform a kilowatt amplifier on 40 meters when the conditions are right. That is the magic of F-layer propagation. Path losses on 10 meters during good conditions are remarkably low. In practical terms, this means our newer licensees, many of whom are limited to low power and modest antennas, can work DX that they would struggle to achieve on the lower bands even with higher power. It's a great equalizer. For contesters, 10 meters is now running very, very well. The CQ Worldwide contest and the ARL DX contest, and so in events like the South African leg of the Work to All Africa Award, have seen dramatically increased participation and contact rates compared to the lean years of cycle 24. So what can you do? A couple of practical suggestions. And just to close off on this, check the solar indices before you sit down at the radio. The solar flux index, or SFI, and the K index are your two most important numbers. An SFI above 150 and a K index below 3 is a green light for 10 meters. You can get these from the DX cluster and from websites like DXEat or SolarHam, or right inside logging software like Log for Old Man on WSJTX. Second, try FT8 on 10 meters if you haven't already. The frequency is 28.074 megahertz upper sideband. Even on a modest station, you'll be astonished at what you can work. During recent morning session here in South Africa, I was decoding stations from Western Europe, East Asia, North America, and South America, all simultaneously on 10 minutes, all with a wire antenna, in-fed half-wave to be honest. Third, don't neglect your SSB and CW. 10 meters is wonderfully alive on the phone during contest. Build a 10-meter antenna, now is the time. A simple half-wave dipole is less than 5 meters per leg, so 10 meters overall, and you're in the air. A quarter-wave vertical with a few radials is equally straightforward. Don't wait till you have the perfect beam. Get some wire in the air and get on the air. It's definitely worth it right now. It's not going to last forever. I reckon we've got another maybe 6 months of good conditions on solar cycle 25. But at this point in time, it's exceeded every predictions and delivered some of the best HF conditions we've seen for a long time. We are past the peak right now, but 10 meters still wide open on a regular basis. And from Southern Africa, we are superbly placed to work the world with modest equipment. Remember that every solar cycle is unique, so we don't know exactly when conditions will begin to decline. What we do know is that the window will not stay open forever. The next solar minimum is only a few years away, and you'll be very unhappy. So fire up the rig, spin the dials to 28 megs, and enjoy it while it lasts. Okay, thank you to everyone who out there who was listening listening in, and for your interest and participation this morning. We trust you've enjoyed the bulletin, and please feel free to contribute ideas, comments, and any constructive criticism to info@zs6stn.org.za. Thanks to the stations that assisted with relays, and to ZS6 Alpha Mike Foxtrot, Mark, the other Mark, who suggested the topic for today, and all those who contributed to the bulletin and called in. Do please call in, go onto the HF bands, make contact with us at the Sandton Amateur Radio Club for the field day. The guys are waiting for your calls, and the clock is ticking. I think there's about 2 3/4 hours left until midday when it cuts off. So please do go on and make contact with the chaps out in Sleepy River Caravan Park. They are waiting for your calls. Join us again next Sunday at 08:45 Central African Time for the regular bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. This then brings to a close the weekly club bulletins of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, Zulu Sierra 6, Sierra Tango November. Today operated by Mark, Zulu Sierra 6, Mike Delta X-Ray from SQTH in Krugersdorp. Thank you to all, and 73s, Zulu Sierra 6, Sierra Tango November, now relinquishes all frequencies for general use.